Everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Reese Kinder. Boy, do we got a good episode lined up for y'all today. We're going to be recapping week 7 of college football and also previewing week 8 of college football, along with the AP poll reaction, what we think is best, where we think some teams can fit in, and also the college basketball preseason AP Top 25 was released earlier today. So we're going to be recapping that and just looking into it. And then we're going to be recapping NFL Week 6, the biggest storylines and biggest wins for some teams. And also, the Jets fall to 0-6, so don't forget about them. We're going to highlight them as well. And then we're going to be previewing Week 7 of NFL action. But all that and more coming up on episode 25 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. Hi, everyone, and welcome in to the Halftime Sports Talk Show. Of course, my name is Reese Kinder. We are back again. Last week, we had two special guests, Max and Taylor, great friends of mine. But we're going to get started on this episode with some college football like we always do. Week 7 of college football, just another great week. A ton of upsets, officiating bad. But we're going to get started with something that I think a lot of people saw coming. It is the firing of head coach James Franklin after a 3-3 start and a 1-point loss to the Northwestern Wildcats on Saturday. Honestly, going into this, I kind of saw this coming. If he lost that game against Northwestern, I was keeping up with that as the day was progressing. I was like, if he loses this game, he's done. And sure enough, I mean, that Penn State's fed up with it. And that's the thing too. Like you see on the headlines on ESPN, if you guys look on ESPN app, the headlines literally said that the reason Penn State fired James Franklin is due to the fact that he could not win big games and, was not a great winner when it came to big games. Lost to Ohio State a lot, lost to Michigan a lot, lost to Oregon since they've joined the Big Ten. So Penn State's just had struggles with the big name teams since joining the Big Ten. And we talked about that last week with Max and Taylor about the UCLA game. It's the same thing. I mean, Penn State, great team and all. But James Franklin just, I don't know if the coaching's there or maybe the play calling decision making has just not been the best this season. But yeah, Penn State gets rid of James Franklin. And it's like I said, it's not a shock to me. But just looking at it too, like also bad news for Penn State. Drew Allard out for the season with a season ending injury. I don't know exactly what it was. I wasn't watching that game. But the Nittany Lions are without Drew Allard. So now, I mean, whoever comes in as interim coach, it's really I don't see Penn State winning much of any games that they have left due to the fact that they're going to be down in the dumps. They have a backup quarterback playing. It's just nothing's going to go right for Penn State this year and for a while. But some notable names have emerged as candidates for head coach, including coaches in the Big Ten, like Kirk Cignetti's one, but Kirk Cignetti already did decline and say that he's fine where he's at. And to be honest, I heard this morning from a CBS reporter. He said the job from Indiana to Penn State is a downgrade, but I'm not really sure that's a downgrade because Penn State's been good for the past 11 years since James Franklin was there. And Indiana's only been good for about 2 or 3 during their tenure during that time. And yeah, I really don't see I don't see that as a downgrade. And then also another candidate that emerged that did say no a few minutes ago was Matt Rule from Nebraska, and that's an upgrade. But also at the same time, Matt Rule I think wants to establish a national title type of program there at Nebraska with Dylan Raiola, and the way he's doing things right now, they're 5-1. They're in the AP poll. I really feel like this Nebraska team is just very, very good, and I think Matt Rule's still got a lot more to do with them. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who takes this Penn State job. Because this is a big job. We're going to have big jobs opening up as the season continues to progress. But you saw UAB fire Trent Dilfer, and then Trent Bay from Oregon State got fired after their 0-7 start. So we're just seeing coaching firings, and these are some longtime coaches too. Like Mike Gundy a few weeks ago was fired from Oklahoma State. So we've just seen some big name coaches go off of their jobs. And James Franklin, honestly, I don't know what job he would get. I know there's the Auburn job that people are saying and a few other jobs, but I don't really see that from any of those schools. But yeah, James Franklin is fired from Penn State after that 3-3 start, and the Nittany Lions just, they have not looked good since this Oregon game, and it's actually crazy too. This is a crazy stat. 15 days ago, James Franklin was ahead to a top 5 Oregon team, and now he's not even the head coach on the Penn State team, and that's just crazy to me how things can change that quickly in college football, and it really shocks a lot of people. But yeah, hopefully Penn State finds the right man for the job. But as of right now, I mean, it's just not looking like Penn State's going to be any good here for the rest of this year, maybe not even in the next year, but we'll see if a coach comes in and rebuilds the program quickly. But yeah, James Franklin is officially out as Penn State's head coach, and that's the way we're going to get started on the show today with coaching firings. But we'll move on now to some games. I know you guys want to hear about the games. And our first game up is Alabama versus Missouri. This was a great game, an 11 a.m. game. We talked about this last week. We said, this will be a great game for the SEC. Max said that he thought Missouri would win. Taylor and me both went with Bama to win. And yeah, I think we were both right. And you look at the stats: Ty Simpson, 200 yards passing, 23 for 31 and 3 TDs, and then Bo Perbula, 167 yards passing, 16 for 28, 2 TDs and 2 INTs. But what really stuck out in this game was Alabama just was able to move the ball a lot. Jan Miller had a great game running the ball. Alabama's defense stepped up when it needed to, and Ty Simpson really had a good game. And on Missouri's side of things, Bo Perbula, the turnovers really kill games, man. I mean, you turn the ball over twice, because the fumble Missouri ended up picking it up. But yeah, you turn that ball over twice to Alabama, they're going to end up scoring off of it. This is why I picked Alabama this week. I was not going to go away from them. I was like, time to go on the right side of things and see if Alabama can get a big win against a Missouri team that's been doing really good. But give credit where credit's due. I mean, Ahmad Hardy did great for Missouri when he needed to, but Alabama's defense was really good. But this Missouri team looks scary, like right off the bat. That 26-yard touchdown that they threw to their tight end. And then I was like, dang. Like, I was watching the game, I was like, dang, Missouri's really good. I was like, they're about to beat the crap out of Alabama. And then sure enough, Ty Simpson answers, and then Bama just from there, it seemed like controlled the game. But this Alabama team, really solid Alabama team. Now, I will give some credit to Missouri's defense. Missouri's defense was great. That defensive line was able to get pressure on Ty Simpson. That's why he probably didn't have a 300-yard game like we've seen the past few weeks. Because if you have a defensive line that can pressure a guy like Ty Simpson, he'll kind of struggle, and it will be hard for him to find his receivers in a tough secondary like that in Missouri, and also just a tough defensive line. But sure enough, Ty Simpson was able to get a big win for Bama. But Bama going now, they're going to be playing Tennessee this upcoming week, which we'll highlight here in a little bit. But yeah, they're going to be playing Tennessee, and I mean, man, just another game on the schedule that Bama could possibly lose, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm really interested to see how that Bama-Tennessee game goes. The third Saturday in October game, as a lot of people like to call it. It's like the Auburn-Georgia rivalry for the Alabama fans. But I think, in my opinion, I think this Bama team moving forward is just a national title contender, maybe an SEC championship contender, because they keep proving me wrong week after week. I want to pick against them, but I really can't. I mean, this Bama team has just been so solid ever since that Florida State loss, and you see where Florida State is now. I think that Alabama just kind of came in there, ran through the motions, and Coach DeBoer got things settled down, got all the hype away from the team. Was like, guys, if we don't execute this and all that, we're going to be a bad team. And Ty Simpson and Jeremy Bernard, those guys stepped up big and just were able to turn this around and get Alabama back on the spotlight where they're a national title contender and an SEC championship contender. And then on Missouri's side of things, I know this is a tough loss. If you're a Missouri fan listening to this, I know this is a tough loss to an Alabama team that's really good, but you got to look at it this way. You guys only lost by 3 points. You had an opportunity at the end of the game through the interception. Stuff like that's going to happen. You're not going to win every single game, but this Missouri team, I still think could make the college football playoff. They just got to win the rest of their games that they're supposed to, which I feel confident they can. And if they're able to, then this Missouri team's very scary, and you could see them in the college football playoff, possibly, maybe even hosting a first round game, which would be big because that home field environment for Missouri is actually pretty tough, tougher than I thought it was. And they're like I said last week, they're renovating that stadium. They're going to make it bigger in the future. So uh, yeah, Alabama, Missouri, final score 27-24. The Crimson Tide get the job done. Ty Simpson able to do everything he can to get the Tide the win. And just another big win for Coach DeBoer and his squad. And I'll be interested to see Alabama and Tennessee this upcoming week, which we will highlight here later. But going to move on now to our next game. It was also a noon game. It was Ohio State versus Illinois. Stat line: Julian Sayin 19 for 27, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then Luke Altmaier 30 for 44, 248 yards, 1 touchdown, and an INT. You know, this game I had hope that Illinois. This is one of the picks I got wrong. I had hope that the Illini would be able to get the job done against the Buckeyes at home. I know Illinois has been playing good at home the past few weeks, but Ohio State just stormed in there and simply demolished Illinois. I mean, I don't think it was the offense that demolished Illinois. I think it was the defense. The defense was really good in that game against the Fighting Illini. I mean, Ohio State got a pick like first quarter after they went down and got three. And after that, I kind of just tuned out of the game because I was like, this game's over. I was like, Ohio State's going to easily win. And sure enough, they did. I mean, they got the job done. Everybody was like, oh, this game could be sneaky and all that. I think they just put that behind them and were like, we're going to play some Ohio State Buckeye football. That defense is going to come out there under Matt Patricia. And this defense for the Buckeyes is just this is the way they make the national championship again, is that defense. I mean, I know everybody's like, well, what about the offense? I mean, Julian Sayin did okay, 19 for 27, 166 yards and 2 touchdown passes. But I mean, I don't think the offense is developed yet. Maybe a few games down the road they will be. Maybe by Michigan they could be. But this Ohio State team's got to figure out some miscues. Like you can't be almost throwing interceptions and stuff if you're Julian Sayin. So I still believe that the Buckeyes are a good team, but still a little bit of time for that offense to develop, and I'll be interested to see how that pans out the next few weeks, even into conference championship week. We'll see. But the Fighting Illini, Luke Altmaier did kind of come back at the end. They were looking like they were going to possibly come back, but then Ohio State just pulled away. Altmaier, like I mentioned, 30 for 44, 248 yards. Not a bad game, but was kind of inaccurate the whole entire first half, and that's kind of what put Illinois way back from Ohio State at halftime when it was 20-7. And the Buckeyes, like I said, never looked back. But yeah, just kind of wanted to highlight this game as a noon game. It was one of the big games of the day, but it didn't turn out to be a big game due to the fact that the Buckeyes were able to pull ahead and get a big win. So Ohio State wins 34-16 in Champaign. The Big Ten, man. I mean, a lot of good teams this year, and Ohio State's still going to have some challenges along the way, but really interested to see what this Buckeyes team can do the next few weeks. But yeah, Ohio State gets a big win. Julian Sayin, the freshman, gets another win under his belt, and Ohio State stays undefeated already in the season and continues to be number one. And, guys, I hate myself for not going this next game. I hate myself for not going with Sig and the boys. You know, I seriously thought, I was like, Oregon is a great team. I was like, they're gonna get things done. I was even agreeing with Taylor. I was like, Dante Moore. Okay, so I don't think Dante Moore's the best player in college football, but I think he's a great player. And I was agreeing with Taylor. I was like, yeah, I mean, I think Dante Moore's a great player. I mean, Oregon's just too much firepower on that squad, and I think they'll be able to get the job done. But boy, was I wrong. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, let's look at the stat line: 20 for 31, 215 yards, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception. And then Dante Moore, 21 for 34, 1 touchdown pass, 2 interceptions. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, Max was right. This dude, Fernando Mendoza, is a Heisman contender. I mean, he threw that pick six early on in the game, never looked back after that. And even you heard the quote from Coach Signetti. It was, I believe he said, after the interception, he said, "Are you having fun?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then Coach Signetti was like, "Let's go play some football." And I like that, man. You're able to have a good relationship with your coach during the game, even after a moment like that where you're throwing an interception, giving them points. And Fernando Mendoza came back out there, played his style of football, played Indiana style of football, was able to get things going, was able to win this game. And Indiana's defense, man, that a lot of people underlooked Indiana's defense, where everybody's like, "Oh, well, Oregon scored a lot of points." Indiana's defense really showed up. Two interceptions against Dante Moore, and one interception was crucial late in the game when the Ducks were moving the ball downfield, looked like they could possibly tie it up, and the Hoosiers were just able to get a big stop and force that turnover, and then go down and kick a field goal, go up 10 with about 2 minutes left, and just kind of put that game away. And this Indiana team, man, I honestly think that this Indiana team obviously is way better than last year. This Indiana team might seriously compete for a national title this year. Like they might actually be the one of the four seeds, maybe in the Rose Bowl, and they might even play in the national championship game if possible. I would honestly not be surprised to see Indiana in the national title game. This team, Fernando Mendoza is a great player. I mean, this team is just outstanding. Signetti had, underrated guys on this team this year, and he's just put them and built them into great players. And I know the schedule for Indiana actually is fairly easy down the road. I believe this weekend they play UCLA, and then they play Michigan State the following weekend. Their toughest game remaining, I would say, is at Penn State. So still got to look out for that one. But if they're able to win that one and go undefeated, this Hoosiers team is very dangerous and very scary. And Coach Ignetti will have another great season under his belt in Indiana. But yeah, so far so good for the Hoosiers. And the Duck side of things, you know, Dante Moore, not gonna hate on him too much. He's a freshman. He's a freshman quarterback. He's gonna make mistakes. I know, and he's gonna throw the ball away sometimes. And this Oregon team, very talented. Dan Lanning, great head coach. This is a very talented Oregon team. He's gonna develop. I'm sure. I'm sure if you're an Oregon fan right now, you got to listen to this. I'm sure that Dan Lanning's going to work with him this week in practice. Oregon's going to bounce back. Oregon's still going to be in that title contention. Dante Moore might even face Indiana again and beat him. I wouldn't be surprised. But you know, if Dante Moore's able to do that, then that would be great. And I hope the best for the Ducks. The Ducks are a really good team. But they did move back four spots to 7. So yeah, I think this was a great game, great Big Ten matchup. But Indiana got it done 30-20. And like I said, Indiana playing UCLA this weekend. Oregon, I don't know who they play. They probably have a bye week, but yeah, big win for the Hoosiers. Kirk Signetti, another big win on his resume for Indiana. But yeah, that's gonna do it for that game. And yeah, gonna move on to the next one. And the next one is the Red River rivalry. You know, I could have, I think I could have told everybody. Maybe I couldn't have. I don't know. I want to say that I could have said that Oklahoma and Texas would have been a blowout from Texas, but I honestly don't say I would say that. But stat line anyway, Arch Manning 166 yards, 21 for 27, one touchdown, and then John Mateer 20 for 38, 202 yards passing, and 3 INTs. This is probably the fall off of Oklahoma, to be honest. I know I'm overreacting, but to be fair, Oklahoma, for some odd reason, just loses a big game and then they fall off completely, like they have the past few years. Their schedule's still really tough. They play Alabama. They play South Carolina this weekend, which is on my pick 'em. I actually have South Carolina winning. So, uh, yeah, I hate to break it to you, Oklahoma fans. I know I'm an Auburn fan. You see the big flag back here, but I hate to break it to you. I really don't have hope in your team anymore. John Mateer, that hand surgery, I think they brought him back too early. And you know, we've seen this in sports a lot: basketball, football, golf, whatever sport you want to name, baseball. But we've seen this so many times. You bring an athlete back from an injury too soon, they play bad, and then the confidence goes down for the player, and then that's when they just don't perform well anymore. And I think this is the scenario where John Mateer's confidence goes way down, and you see that Oklahoma loses. Oklahoma continues to slowly fall out of the AP poll. They sneak into a bowl game like they did last year, and Brent Venables is fired. Because to be honest, I mean, I know I don't want to say he missed on another quarterback, Brent Venables did, but honestly, I feel like he did. Because Mateer coming from Washington State, you played like Pac-12 or you played Mountain West schools at Washington State. I know it's easy to say like, oh well, this happened, that happened, but Mateer, I mean, man, all the Heisman talk's gone for Mateer. Now it's Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza's turn, and you got to give credit to Texas, man. They came in there. The defense was good. Arch Manning didn't play his best football, but played good when he needed to. And that's what's important. I mean, Manning coming off that loss to Florida needed to gain some confidence back, and I think this gained his confidence back. All the hate and everything he was receiving from everybody, but I really feel like now that this Texas team might have some momentum, might have some fuel, and could continue pushing forward, and possibly making a push for the SEC championship. It just depends on what happens. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but Oklahoma might have just fallen off after this loss to Texas. I know it's an overreaction, but it is Monday, so it could be overreaction Monday. But yeah, I'm just not surprised that Oklahoma lost this game due to the fact that they brought Mateer back a little too early, earlier than expected. But yeah, uh, Texas and Oklahoma Red River rivalry. Texas takes the win. Obviously last year Oklahoma won it, but yeah, Texas gets a big win. Oh no, Texas won it last year, I think. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, but Texas gets a big win, 23-6, and the Sooners fall. And I'll be interested to see what happens to Oklahoma down the road. But gonna get into our next game now, and this one's gonna be hard. Hard, guys. I mean, this I honestly don't have any words. But it's gonna start with officiating. Okay, Auburn versus Georgia. First, we're gonna get in the stat line, then we'll talk about officiating after. But Gunnar Stockton, 217 yards passing, 24 for 37, no touchdown passes, one touchdown run. And then Jackson Arnold, 137 yards passing, 19 for 31, just one touchdown run as well. But yeah, it's very I'm obviously an Auburn fan. I'm not gonna try to be biased here, but I was at the game. Um, I almost lost my voice for how bad the officiating was. I mean, you you get to the point to where it's almost like, we should put robots in at refs. I mean, like Chat GPT could have been a ref in that game, and I think it would have been better. Because Ken Williamson might be the worst SEC official I've ever watched call a game, because you'll see the clip here in a second, but you can like literally see the ball crosses the plane. No debate about it. That is a touchdown. Even if it's fumbled in the end zone after, that is still a touchdown. Um, and I hate to play the ref cost you the game thing, but the refs really did cost Auburn the game. And I do think this is on Hugh Freeze too. You can't go into halftime, because I'm sure he did this. I'm so sure he did this. He probably went into halftime and showed Jackson Arnold the play that happened and said, that's not a fumble, we should have scored. And I think the team moped about it, and that's why the 40 yards of total offense happened in that second half. And you can't do that if you're Auburn, but yes, at the same time, the refs did cost this game. Georgia is not a good football team. Like, they're not the football team I thought they were. Um, but yeah, I think I don't want to hear a dumb statement from the SEC. That's one thing already. I'm glad they haven't put that out yet, but I don't want to hear any stupid statement about this, that, the other, because plain and simple, he scored. And I think if that would have been ruled a touchdown, which it was, Auburn would have won the game by 3 scores. I'm so serious. Georgia probably would have not scored until the fourth quarter. That's how bad Georgia's offense was doing. They were Auburn's defense was all over them. The secondary was locking down their receivers. Gunnar Stockton was having trouble finding his receivers. He was having to step out of the pocket, get out of the pocket, and elude pressure. Was throwing the ball out of bounds and stuff like that. I mean, man, if this officiating, and it's not even just Auburn, Georgia either, man. It's like we go back to 3 weeks ago on the show. We were talking about the Auburn Oklahoma game officiating. It's the same thing. And then I've seen so many instances this year where officiating has played a big role in a game decision. And I think it's coming to a point now to where we're, as a college football community, we are all noticing the same. Like if you're having guys like Josh Pate, JD Pickle, like they're on here saying, this is literally a pass interference. This is a fumble. Like, or this is not a fumble. You're having guys that don't even follow the team. They don't necessarily like the team or dislike the team, but they're not even following the team, and they're like, that's not a fumble and all that. Like, you had 36 minutes of real time taken up to call flag after flag after flag after review after review. You had 36 minutes of time taken up to do that. Like, at the end of the day, I don't want to be the one to say, we don't need refs in sports. We obviously do. We saw last night, for example, that's why we need refs in sports. Shouldn't be punching players after the game. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes or not, but I think there needs to be a serious conversation about just officiating in general. And the SEC is terrible about it, man. I mean, the SEC has been the worst conference for officiating and deciding games ever. And I hate to say this, but I seriously think, no offense to the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, but I think that they are on purpose trying to make it Georgia Alabama SEC championship. Like that's literally what it seems like. If there is a call that decides the game this weekend against Ole Miss for Georgia, that I stand by that completely, because it just seems like the SEC wants the same result. Like they don't want new emerging teams. They want the same results over and over and over again. That's not going to happen in football. College football is so unique because of that exact reason. You have teams that upset teams. You have small schools that come into big schools places and beat them, like Northwestern beat Penn State. I mean, you have a ton of things that could happen that if you just let the game play out, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Like maybe Auburn doesn't win this game. Maybe Auburn fails to do that in the second half. But like I said, if Auburn would have scored right then, right there, which they did, but it was called back, Auburn would have won by 3 scores, maybe 4. It probably would have been like 34-7 would have been the final score. But enough about my rant from officiating. Georgia, congratulations on the win. Auburn, I don't know anymore. If they lose to Missouri, Hugh Freeze is probably gone. But yeah, gonna move on to our next game up on the slate from Week 7. It is Michigan and USC. And man, Michigan. We're gonna start with the stat line first before we get into it. Bryce Underwood, 15 for 24, 207 yards passing, and then 2 touchdowns and an interception. Then Jaden Mayava, 265 yards, 25 for 32, 2 touchdowns and interception. Mayava having another game again that's just outstanding. He had it against Illinois a few weeks ago. But yeah, this USC team, Lincoln Riley has really gotten it back on track after all the rumors about maybe they're going to get rid of him, possibly. But yeah, USC looked really good in this game, 31-13. The Wolverines just had no answers. I mean, Underwood, like I said this after the Oklahoma game. It really just comes down to to Underwood. He's a freshman. You're gonna make mistakes, and I think away from home, if this game was at Michigan, I think Michigan wins. But you know, you can't blame it on home field advantage and stuff like that. You still have to show up and play the game. But USC has they played really good. They got Notre Dame this weekend, which we will highlight here later. But yeah, USC gets a big win against the Wolverines, 31-13. And I like the Trojans here to continue this run, but we'll see what happens in Big Ten play as they continue to do things. But yeah, big win for the Trojans, and gonna move on to our next game. And like I said, next game up, Utah and Arizona State. Taylor, if Taylor's watching this episode, I feel so bad because Sam Levitt was out for the game. He, I guess, got injured in practice or something. But yeah, Jeff Sims, the college football legend from Georgia Tech and Nebraska, had to come in. 124 yards passing, 18 for 38, no touchdowns. And then Devin Dampier, 104 yards passing, 7 for 12, but 120 rushing yards and 10 carries for 3 TDs. The thing was here is just Utah's defense, man. I mean, Devin Dampier did not pass the ball much. He ran a lot more, which you heard there, and the Utes were able to get it done on the defensive side of things. Arizona State, if they would have had Sam Levitt, they probably would have won this game. Jeff Sims is just not a good quarterback at all. I've watched him play. He makes horrible decision, and he makes bad reads and everything. But yeah, the Sun Devils not going to spend too much time on this game because the Sun Devils got destroyed. But Texas Tech comes to town this upcoming weekend for Arizona State. So if they're able to bounce back, if Levitt's healthy, then we'll see. But the Utes get a big win late on Saturday night in Utah. But yeah, they play BYU this upcoming weekend in a huge rivalry. So um, I'll be interested to see what happens there. But yeah, Utah gets a big win, 42-10 against the Sun Devils. And yeah, that's gonna do it for Week 7 recap. Week 7, great games, just so many outstanding performances. Some big games that happened this weekend, some big implications for college football playoffs, which are coming up here. In it's getting close to November. Basketball season's on its way soon, and really interested to see what's in store for these upcoming weeks. But gonna move on now to Week 8 preview. And guys, I mean, the picking record is just not good. You can see right there, 26 for 30 on the picking record. We went 2-7. Maybe no, 3-6. We went 3-6 on the picks. And yeah, just not good at all. And hopefully we bounce back. If you guys want to check out the picks, it is on Halftime Sports official Instagram. So go to Halftime Sports _official. It is down there on the graphic if you guys want to check that out and see the picks. If you guys want to make some picks too on your ESPN Pick'em. But gonna start off now with our first Week 8 game. It is Vanderbilt versus LSU. And, I really think Vanderbilt wins this game. And they're actually a favorite, 2.5-point favorite currently, according to ESPN Bets. But the Commodores will win this game because Diego Pavia, man. Diego Pavia is the only answer for this game for the Commodores. If he's playing his game and Vanderbilt's locked in, this Vanderbilt team's very scary. They can score high power, or they can score a lot on offense. And LSU the past few weeks has kind of struggled. They even struggled against South Carolina, struggled to beat them, and had some favoritism on the calls there against South Carolina. But if it's at Vanderbilt, I know Vanderbilt doesn't have much of a home field advantage, but this Commodores team in the past few years seems like they've had a decent amount of fans show up. And if Vanderbilt is able to get the job done against the Tigers, then man, they're back in that conversation for SEC championship hopefuls. But yeah, I seriously think the Commodores win this game at home against LSU. It's an early game. I thought this should have been College Game Day, but it wasn't. But yeah, early game for the Commodores, but I think they win this game. I'm not going to say big. I'm going to say maybe by a touchdown or two. But yeah, I think Vanderbilt gets another top 10 win in their program history right here this year, and then they'll improve their record to 6-1 on the season and go bowl eligible. So yeah, Vanderbilt, I think will get a big win on Saturday. But gonna move on now to our next game. This is College Game Day, and this one's a big one, man. Number 5 Ole Miss versus number 9 Georgia. Both teams struggled in Week 7. Ole Miss struggled against Wazoo, but for those that say they struggled against Wazoo early on in the day, you got to look at it. I mean, you're playing a team from Washington in the middle of the day, in the middle of SEC conference play, and there's no fans in the stands, and you beat them by 3 points. I'm not going to hold that against the Rebels. I think this Rebels team's very good. And actually, a good friend of mine did say he thinks Ole Miss might win, but I'm not going to mess up my picking record, so I will pick the Bulldogs. But speaking of the Bulldogs, they struggled against the Tigers last week. So I think this is a low-scoring dogfight in Athens. But this will be a good game for Trinidad Chambliss to show who he really is. And Gunnar Stockton, man, he's going to have some trouble against his Ole Miss defense. But whoever wins this matchup will make the SEC championship because I think if Ole Miss wins, they're not losing another game. I'm so serious. This Ole Miss team's for real. Lane Kiffin's gotten it together. This is an underrated Ole Miss team. This might be better than one of the Jackson Dart teams we saw that lost a game or two. If they didn't lose that game, then they would have made the college football playoff. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs in this one. But don't be surprised if Ole Miss keeps it close and maybe even beats Georgia in Athens. But yeah, that's 2:30 on ABC for anybody that wants to tune in. And it is College Game Day in Athens, so big things going on there in Athens, Georgia for College Game Day. But gonna move on now to start the show, man. It's just been to start week 8. Honestly, it's just been SEC. It feels like the whole show's been SEC so far. But gonna get into Tennessee and Alabama, the third Saturday in October. It indeed is the third Saturday in October. But the question is here: does Joey Aguilar have what it takes to win against the Tide? I don't know. The Georgia game, he was at home. He was in front of his crowd, but I really think that this could be a bigger game than a lot of people are giving it credit to be. Ty Simpson and Alabama have played a lot of close games. I think this one will be really close, but I think it's going to be high scoring. If Tennessee's run game is there, then man, that they're going to score a lot there. And if Aguilar's able to find his receivers deep downfield, this could be a shootout. This could be one of those like 5 overtime thrillers that we see late on Saturday night. This is 6:30 game, but the Tide I think are ready for this challenge. But I'm going to go with the Tide. But this is another one. Don't be surprised if Tennessee keeps it close, maybe even wins this game in Tuscaloosa, because Tennessee is a really talented program. Josh Heupel has a really good quarterback there, and Joey Aguilar. He proved me wrong a few weeks ago, but I'm going to have to go against him this week because the Tide have just been rolling as of late. But yeah, give me Alabama against Tennessee. But this one's at 6:30 on ABC, and really interested to see what happens. But going to move on to the next matchup. And we said earlier, we did say we were going to speak about USC and Notre Dame. And yeah, this one, big game for Notre Dame. If they lose, they're probably out of the college football playoff conversation. But the Trojans defense, this is the question, man. They got to be good in order to win this game, because if they are not on point against Notre Dame, or CJ Carr is going to be able to throw that ball deep against USC. But I think this will be a high-scoring game. I don't think there'll be much defense played in this one. I am going to go with the Irish in this one, but I won't be surprised. This is like, there's so many games this week that I'm going to say I'm not going to be surprised that it's close, because this one's another one. I mean, Mayava for USC has played some great football the whole season, honestly. He's been throwing 250-yard games. And yeah, this USC and Notre Dame game is really big. It's actually a rivalry, so yeah, really interested to see what happens between USC and Notre Dame. But I got the Irish in this one, but don't be surprised if USC is able to keep it close against Notre Dame. But that matchup, big matchup, 6:30 NBC game between Notre Dame and USC with big implications playing into it. And our next game on the slate is Missouri at Auburn. I know you guys are like, why are we picking this game again? We picked Auburn last week. You know, I honestly think Auburn has a shot in this game. Missouri last game exposed themselves to a lot of things. They don't really throw the ball a lot. They run the ball a lot with Ahmad Hardy. And Auburn's great at stopping the run. Now, if Missouri's able to find receivers in the pass game, then Missouri wins this game. But I don't think so. But I still think Missouri wins. I think Auburn's going to make some stupid decisions. And that's inevitably going to lead to Hugh Freeze's firing. And I think the Missouri Tigers are going to get a big win on Saturday night at 6:45 on SEC Network. I think Missouri gets a big win against Auburn, but it's going to be close. It will be a close game because Jordan Hare at night is a very tough place to play. And Georgia experienced that, should have lost, but didn't. But yeah, Auburn versus Missouri. I got Missouri, but don't be surprised if it's close because it is an SEC matchup between two Tiger teams that play some good football. But yeah, Auburn last year trying to get back at Missouri, revenge game kinda after they, struggled to or they struggled in the second half against Missouri, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Auburn and Missouri at 6:45 on SEC Network. But guys, that is going to do it for our Week 8 picks and just preview. You know, I'm really excited for Week 8. We're just inching closer and closer and closer to the best times of the year of Christmas, Thanksgiving, football, 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 football. Every day is football, and you know, I can't love it more. I just love football so much, and really excited to see what the rest of this year is going to bring for us college football because it's still a lot of weeks left. Crazy things could happen. Turnarounds could happen for teams. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on everything. But yeah, hopefully my pick record continues to maybe this week is better. We'll see. But for now, we're gonna just keep it where it is, and we'll see what happens. But really interested to see what week 8 has in store. Maybe some upsets in store. We'll have to see. But gonna move on now to the AP poll, and the AP poll, man, really, really good actually this week. They did a good job with that AP poll, and I'm very proud, guys. You guys were able to do it and get things back on track with the ranking system. And we're gonna take a quick look now at the AP poll, and yes, the first. So obviously the top two stayed the same: Ohio State and Miami. Miami had a bye week. Ohio State became bowl eligible with that win against Illinois. And guess who slid in to the top three? It is Indiana. Indiana slides in the top three. They actually received three first place votes. The Hoosiers, I mean, man, like I said earlier, Coach Signetti making a case that Indiana football is actually really good, and they are. I mean, they are no doubt a great team, and they slide into the 3 spot. Texas A&M moves up 1 spot, takes over Ole Miss, which I understand. Ole Miss had a close game. Texas A&M played really good against the Gators, won 34-17, and then Ole Miss fell back to 5. Alabama slides up 2 spots after beating Missouri, and then Texas Tech is 7. Texas Tech might be the best Big 12 team, which I can't wait to continue to cover them the next few weeks. I mean, this Texas Tech team is a solid team. They got a lot of talent on that team, and if they win the Big 12, look out in the college football playoff because the Red Raiders have a solid team, great transfer portal class, and I'm really excited to see what the Red Raiders have in store the rest of the season. And then Oregon, actually, I mistakenly put them at 7 because my ranking had them at 7. It's 8 that they're at. They're at 8. They fell back 5 spots after losing to Indiana, which is understandable. And then Georgia goes up 1 spot to 9. I think they should have went back a spot. And then LSU gets in the top 10 yet again. They are number 10 at 5-1, and then Tennessee's 11. Georgia Tech is inching closer to a top 10 spot as they are 6-0, become bowl eligible yet again. And then Notre Dame is 4-2, ranked 13th on the year now. And then Oklahoma goes back 8 spots. They go back to 14th. The Sooners just not able to get things done against Texas. They go back. And then BYU moves up 3 spots after getting a big double overtime win against Arizona. We said that game last week would be close, and BYU kept it close, but was able to win. And BYU's still looking like a great team, 6-0. That might be Texas Tech's competition in the Big 12. BYU can continue to improve things. And then Missouri obviously fell back 2 spots because they lost, but staying at 16 or going back to 16, not bad for Missouri. I like the spot for them. And then Vanderbilt moves up 3 spots after having a bye week and going to 17. And then Virginia slides up 1 spot to go to 18. South Florida demolished North Texas, and they go up 5 spots from 24th to 19. And then the Trojans come in the rankings at number 20 after being in the rankings a week or two ago, and then coming back in after beating Michigan big. And then Texas comes in the rankings after beating Oklahoma in that close game. And then obviously Memphis is also moving up one spot after last week. They got ranked for the first time, but Memphis 22nd, and they are 6-0 as well. They won again. And then Utah comes in the rankings yet again at 5-1. They are 23rd. And then our two newcomer or another newcomers that we have not seen this year. Nebraska and Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 24th and Nebraska is 25th. That's the only part I would say they got wrong. I think Nebraska should be 24th, Cincinnati should be 25th because Nebraska beat Cincinnati. But yeah, overall, AP poll, great job this week. Just really watching the games and noticing everything that I saw and that most analysts saw. But yeah, the rankings look really good. Really interested to see how it's going to continue to play out. The college football rankings are really close. November 9th, I think, is when they come out. So that's in a few weeks. We're October 13th today. So a few weeks away from the first ever college or the first college football rankings this year. So yeah, really interested to see what those first rankings have in store and what the committee thinks about these teams and will they move them around or will they keep them in the same places that the AP poll did. But gonna stay on the topic of polls. We're gonna be reacting to the men's college basketball poll was released earlier today about 12 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to get started. Your top four teams are Purdue, Houston, Florida, and UConn. All of them receiving first place votes. One thing I would change, I think Florida, since they won the Natty, should be first. I think UConn should be second. Purdue should be third. Houston should be fourth. That's just my personal opinion. And then your 5 through 8 teams is St. John's, Duke, Michigan, BYU. I love that ranking. And I think everything right there is fine. And then your 9 through 13 is Kentucky, Texas Tech, Louisville, UCLA, and Arizona. That one also looks really good. Maybe Louisville back a little bit more, but everything else there looks pretty good. And then your 14 through 18 is Arkansas, Alabama, Iowa State, Illinois, and Tennessee. I like that one as well. I think Alabama should be a little bit further back. Same with Arkansas and Iowa State, and also Illinois and Tennessee. I think all those should be way further back. And then your 19 through 25 is Kansas, Auburn, Gonzaga, Michigan State, Creighton, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. I think Auburn should be way higher. I know they lost Janiah Broome, lost some key players, but I seriously think this Auburn team should be way higher than the writers are giving them credit to be. But everything else overall looks really good. So the first poll, guys, is finally out, and can't wait for college basketball season. Actually, this week Auburn does play an exhibition game in Birmingham against Oklahoma State Wednesday. But yeah, college basketball is upon us. We are so close. The first games, I believe, are November 1st or November 2nd. So college basketball, not even a month away. We're a few weeks away from the first college basketball games, and we'll be back with college basketball action whenever that starts to begin. Same with NBA. But yeah, gonna move on now to our back. We're gonna go back to football now. We're gonna transition back to it away from basketball. We're gonna go to some NFL Week 6 recap. I know there's some Monday night games tonight between the Bills and Falcons and the Bears and Commanders. You can check those out. But yeah, guys, I mean, sorry about that. It's just kind of an ad played, but yeah, go check those out for sure on TV tonight on ESPN and ABC. But gonna get in it now to our first game. This was the game in London, England. This one was the Jets versus Broncos, and man, like I wasn't even awake for this game. I had work at like 10:30, but I kind of saw the end of it, and dude, this might be the worst game of football I've ever watched. I mean, like, look at the stat line. Bo Nix, 19 for 30, 174 yards, 1 touchdown. And then, other than that, like, literally the Jets had 82 total yards on offense. It was horrible. Like, I had hope that the Jets might actually turn things around this year with Aaron Glenn at coach, but literally have not even done it seems like they haven't even changed anything, and they're playing a Carolina team next week who is 3-3, looking like they could be a playoff team this year. And man, I really don't know what to say. The Broncos win 30, or they win 13-11 get a big win, but it was such a bad game. The Jets defense is really good, but if you can't get stopped, or if you can't get stops when needed, then you lose the game. And the Broncos were able to get a big win. So yeah, the Jets fall to 0-6, and the season just looks like it's out of reach now for the Jets, and they probably are going to hold the number one draft spot. But gonna move on now to the team I just mentioned, my team, my Carolina Panthers. Key pounding. We won that game, and the Panthers, man. I'm so proud of the team. Cowboys defense is horrible, but the question is, are the Panthers a legitimate sleeper in the NFC? I think so. I mean, this team. I know the schedule is it's so so. I don't know if we can say what's going to happen the next few weeks, but obviously the Jets on Sunday. I think the Panthers win that game easily. For some reason ESPN doesn't think so. The odds are only like 1.5 Carolina, but I don't know why. And then the Panthers play the Bills at Carolina. That could be interesting, but I think the Bills got that one. Then they play in Lambeau Field for the Packers game. I don't think we got that one. And then we play the Saints after that. I think the Saints game, the Panthers probably win that game. And then at the Falcons, don't know. I would like to say we win that game. It just depends on how the Falcons play, but I feel like feel like that could be a winnable game. But if we win it, we'd be 6-5. And then we have the 49ers Monday Night Football at 7:15 on the 24th of November. I think that's a loss. And then you come back and play the Rams at home. I think that's a win, to be honest. And then the Saints again, that's a win. The Bucks at home, it's close, but I think it's a loss. And then the Seahawks is a win. And then I think the Bucks away is a loss. But right there sounds like a 10-7 season, maybe even better if the Panthers can surprise me with some of those teams that they're going to face the next few weeks. But yeah, I really feel like the Panthers are a solid team. Another freaking ad, man. It just keeps popping up. But yeah, I really feel like the Panthers are a solid team, and you know, this Panthers team's proven everybody wrong, proven the doubters wrong yet again. But Panthers beat the Cowboys 30-27 on a walk-off field goal, and a huge win for Coach Dave Canales and that Panthers team. But gonna move now to our last recap of Week 6. It is the 49ers versus Buccaneers. The Buccaneers might actually be the number one seed in the NFC. I really wouldn't be surprised because Baker Mayfield's playing his best football I've seen in his career. And the Bucs just look so good right now. Huge win against the 49ers on that game of the week, I think it was. And yeah, great win for Baker and the boys. But the Bucs get a win 30-19. And like I said, I'm a Panthers fan. I hope the Bucs don't do good, but Baker Mayfield, I really like to see this guy succeed because he's a great football player and just a great leader on that Buccaneers team. But yeah, great job from Tampa to get the win against the 49ers. So they improved to 5-1, and they're the number one seed currently in the NFC. But gonna move now to our Week 7 preview, and our first game up. Our first preview up on the slate is the London game. It is the Rams versus the Jags. They're playing in London, and the Jags, lost to the Seahawks. The defense wasn't there, but I think this Jags team is going to be able to bounce back against a Rams team who did good against the Ravens. Yeah, they did good against the Ravens. My bad. Couldn't find it for a second, but yeah, the Rams did good against the Ravens, and I think this will be a close game, a defensive game. But really interested to see how the Rams and Jags do in London. The Jags seem like they play in London every freaking year, so it's insane. And speaking of the Bucks again, we're gonna go back to them. The Bucks versus the Lions on Monday Night Football. A huge game if for the Bucks, but if they win, they might be unstoppable in my opinion. But this Bucks team continuing to get some momentum. But I think the Lions win this one. I think the Bucks finally lose a game here after winning a few in a row. But yeah, really interested to see what the Bucks and Lions has on Monday Night Football. But a great week of sports, great week upcoming of sports yet again. But guys, that is going to do it for episode 25 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. don't forget to like and subscribe on these videos. And also, we got to get that viewership up. We got to get everything going, get everybody to know the podcast is out there. And we post on Instagram almost daily, it feels like now. We also post on Facebook. Facebook, we are with Facebook now. We are also with X as well. We don't post on X as much, but when we can, we can. Um, and we're also on TikTok. If you want to check me out, check us out as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for episode 25 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. Again, guys, I mean, another great week of sports. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you guys enjoy this weekend of sports. Savor it, man. It's just a great weekend of college football, great weekend of NFL. And I hope you guys' favorite teams win. Comment down below your favorite team in the comments, and I'll check those out, guys. And you know, as always, stay safe out there, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week.